Hello. It's so wonderful, and it's a blessing to be here with you in this amazing place called Asilomar. And I mean, it's such a special, amazing place, and it's because it's not a place at all. It's an experience. And that's today's topic, experience. And the whole topic is connecting, love's connection, connecting with love. So today I was thinking about all of that, and I thought, should I be over here where it's all flourishing? And if I stand over here, will they think I'm sick? I'm not sure. As long as I know what I am, it's okay. I loved that talk. Anyway, love's connection. And I've been caught up in the fire of some of Emerson's ideas recently. And one in particular really caught my consciousness. And it helped me to put together, to connect some dots. And one of his expressions was, knowing the end, we create the means by which the end is realized. Knowing the end result forces the details by which the thing is accomplished. Knowing the end summons the conditions that bring forward that which you know of. And that has been in my mind for so long now, at least 2.5 weeks. And so I began to think about that in conjunction with love's expression and what that is and what love's experience is in my life. And of course, I have a few minutes, so I'll give you a few little connecting of the dots along those lines. And I know that what is true for me is true for you. And although my experiences may happen in my own individual way, you've had your own experiences too, so we're one in that. Love anyway is what? Who knows? There are as many definitions as there are people. But it is something that fascinates us anyway, and it's something that's studied, it's something that's written about, it's something that's painted, it's something that's sculptured, it's something that's danced, it's something that's sung, it's something that's taught, for heaven's sakes. But I often ask myself, are we as eager to live it as we are to present it in those forms? And for me, that is always the question. How keen and how eager am I to live that which I consider love to be, which is life itself, truth itself, and the true essence of our nature. And so I'm always on that endeavor. So, okay, knowing that the end is already established, knowing that it provides the means to get into that realization of that end. Once upon a time, when she was a very little girl, Moira, at 4 years of age, received a holy card from her aunt, who was a nun in San Antonio, Texas. It was a beautiful card. It was a black and white card, very well defined. It had lovely scalloped edges, and I was intrigued by this holy card. And I remember gazing into it and being totally absorbed by it. The bottom corner had the great Margaret Mary, St. Margaret Mary, and she was wrapped in this pose of prayer. On the top right-hand corner was Jesus, and his Sacred Heart was aflame, and a great shooting light came out from his Sacred Heart and hit Margaret Mary in the third eye. Although she didn't know she had a third eye because she was a Catholic nun, but I knew it was her third eye because it was right here. And so I didn't know it at 4 years of age. I now know it was her third eye. I thought she was just being hit in the bondo, which is what you call this thing a nun wears over here. Anyway, it so fascinated me that it absorbed me, and I was in the zone of it, and I knew at 4 years of age, I'm going to have that experience. I want that experience. At 4 years of age, I set my intention. And so, of course, then the holy card was put away, and I never thought about it after that until come forward with me several years later. And Sister Miriam is now prostrate on the chapel floor, listening to the nuns singing the 24 verses of Veni Creator Spiritus, Come Holy Spirit. And I'm prostrate on that floor, and I'm back in the picture, and I'm enveloped in the zone again, and I'm out of it, and I'm not aware of anything except the experience I had entered into in that picture when I was 4 years of age. Did I know at 4 that I was knowing something? And in knowing it, I was creating the means by which that would happen. Of course I didn't. But I knew it in that moment then. I didn't know it as a religious scientist, but I knew it. I was able to connect the dots. When I was walking around here during the week, I had that sense of, a deep sense of belonging and a deep sense of knowing everyone I met, and very present to everybody I met, and they present to me, and everybody in the endeavor of being connected. And then I remembered, I shot back to my first Holy Communion, and I can remember the anticipation of making my first Holy Communion. It was so scary and so awesome and so amazing. And the day came, and we were trembling. We were trembling little angels waiting to receive Holy Communion, absolutely filled with wonder, filled with awe, because we were now ready to receive the Lord. And that was scary and awesome at the same time. And I got that sense then, that day too. But it came right back to me here in Asilomar as I was walking around, and I realized every single day of my life now I get to receive Holy Communion by means of all the connectedness that's going on around and about me, and me being present and everything else being present to me. So there was another way where I was able to connect the dots, and little did I know when I made my Holy Communion that I was setting an intention to realize the means by which I could stand here before you tonight. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And then if you will come with me to another day that was far more painful in my life, and that was the day that I left the convent. And it was a day of great sorrow, great sadness, a great sense of separation, a great sense of disconnect. And yet, it was something that had to happen, it was something that had to be done, and it had been arranged that I would meet my mother in Dublin, and then I would go home. So I met my mother in Dublin, and I didn't feel like going home at a hotel in Dublin. And after we'd had a lunch, well, I looked at the food on the plate, and after the lunch was finished and I was able to say goodbye to the Reverend Mother and the novice mistress and so on, I said to my mother, "You go on home, Mom. I'll catch a bus later because I need to go and get my hair done." You should have seen my hair the day I came out of the convent. So I said, "I have to go and get my hair done." And she kind of understood, and she said, "Well, are you sure you're going to be off like this?" I said, "Yes, I'll be fine." I didn't go and get my hair done. I went to the nearest church, which was a cathedral. And I walked into that place, and it was like a mausoleum, because it was Good Friday. And everything in the place had been all rolled up and put away. No carpets, all the pictures, all the statues covered up in purple. The tabernacle door was open, the Blessed Sacrament had been taken out and put in a side chapel. There was no sanctuary light on, and it was the perfect outward representation of how I felt. So I knelt down on those hard benches, and everything within me was just bashed, broken. My very soul was shivering. I felt as disparate and as separate as I've ever felt. I felt totally disconnected. And yet, thundering through my veins were the words from Scripture, the Psalms. "Yes, I will pay my vows at the altar of the Lord. Yes, I will pay my vows at the altar of..." I couldn't get it out of my head, and I thought, this is ridiculous. I just left the place where that might have been possible. And that's ridiculous. What's going on here? And welling up within me were waves and waves of oceanic tears that couldn't be spilled. My eyes were too paralyzed, in a sense, even to cry. And I left that place bereft, totally bereft, not knowing how that was going to happen. Yet, in that moment of brokenness, sorrow, and sadness, but never despair, interestingly enough, in that moment of brokenness, sorrow, and sadness, I was knowing something that was going to produce the means that would bring me here to Asilomar and confirm, yes, I will pay my vows at the altar of the Lord on the day I was ordained over there on these grounds. Who knew? Who knew? So it is very, very true, my dear ones, that as the science goes, as the teaching goes, every thought is an act of creation, and consciousness reigns supreme. And what I know and what I deeply know will happen, will demonstrate itself. But it's going to happen for me all the more quickly and wonderfully if I know what I know, so that I can cooperate in creating the means by which it can be realized. That's the beauty of it. Now I tell you, when I say to myself, there is a power for good in the universe greater than me and I can use it, it doesn't sound like Rumi dancing or Hafiz intoxicated at the steps of a tavern, or the great Saint Teresa of Avila caught up in beatific vision, nor does it sound like the cloud unknowing, nor does it sound like John of the Cross as he lies in his field of lilies resting on the beloved's breast, nor does it sound like the great Saint Augustine who's panting for God's sakes. It doesn't sound like any of that. Nor does it feel like Sister Miriam prostrate in the nuns' chapel listening to 24 verses of Veni Creator Spiritus, except she's not listening, she's zoned, she's gone. But, here's the thing that I've come to know and love and appreciate. It has the very, very same meaning. It has the very same meaning. There may be no lilies, but it has the very same meaning. And I can get now just as fired up when I tell myself there is a power for good in the universe greater than I am, and I can use it. Yes. The question is, will I? Will I? The next question is, how will I use it? And the next question is, do I know what I'm doing anyway? But here's what I've come to know and love about this wonderful teaching, that it embraces all the ancient wisdom of the years, that it is everything. It is everything. And it helps me to take and build on the foundations I've already laid down as I move through my childhood experience and my convent experience and my ashram experience and on and on and on and on. And it helps me to be more of myself than anything else on this plane has ever helped me to be. Because I have to tell you, even though I was heartbroken leaving the convent, and left the convent because I felt I couldn't be a nun. If I stayed in the convent, I'd really have to be a habitless nun and leave the convent or whatever that is, and it made no sense. But I was driven to it. I had to do it. I had to do it. It's like a vocation in life. If it's something that you have to do, then it's your vocation. You have to do it, and whether you like it or not, or lump it or not, it's what you're going to do because you have to. It gives you no peace if you don't. It gives you no peace if you don't. There's no sleeping at night. There's none of that. There's no peace. There's no contentment if you don't respond. So as Miriam was going through her convent experience, she was very dichotomized because she was endeavoring very hard to be a good nun, because whatever I take on, I want to take it on and do it well. But I don't know. There were too many rules, there were too many regulations, and I couldn't cope with them all. Not only did we have the rules of the church, but we had the rules of the monastic life, and then we had a book of appendages to the rules. And so you had appendages that said, nuns shall not be seen giddily running down the corridors and so on and so forth. But if you're a mile away from where you're supposed to be, and again it says, the nuns shall respond to the first stroke of the bell. Well, if you're 5 minutes away from the first stroke of the bell, you're going to do what I did. You'll pick up your rosary beads, very long rosary beads, so nobody hears them rattling when you're running, you see. to get to where you're going, that's what you did. And so, of course, the holy silence was often broken by Sister Miriam, because if she had to say a kind word to somebody who was suffering, she was going to say a kind word to somebody who was suffering. And let me tell you, we only got to speak 2 hours in every day, that's all. One of those hours, the novice mistress was present, so you can imagine the conversation. And so 1 hour a day is when you got to speak, and dare you break the grand silence from 10 o'clock at night until 6 o'clock in the morning. It was more than your life was worth. So there were a whole lot of things that I couldn't comply with. I couldn't give up my mirror because I needed it to put my rollers in when I was a postulant. There were so many things I couldn't do, and I kept telling myself, Moira, you're called to be a nun. You know you're called to be a nun. You want to be a nun. You want to be a good nun. And yet, there are all these things that you just cannot do. Then on top of that, one very well-meaning, good, beautiful, wonderful retreat master said to me, Sister Miriam, let me give you a word of advice. You need to shut your mouth and say nothing for the next 10 years. And then, after that, maybe it'll be okay for you to share your ideas of life and living with the rest of the community. So that was it, you know. Maria wasn't an asset to the Abbey, I can tell you. And so what is it all about now, this thing called life, this experience, this thing called love, this thing called that deep, intimate, close relationship with my source? And it is so yummy, I can't find another word for it except yummy. But what is it now? It has changed a little bit for me. It has changed from having those deep experiences in meditation, in prayer, in spiritual practice, that of course became an addiction. Like anything else, spiritual practice can become an addiction. Once it becomes an addiction, it's not serving us very well. There was a time if I didn't get 4 hours of meditation and I just would be unhappy with myself. So now for me, what this thing called a deep, intimate relationship with my source is being able to have that, as I'm having it right now here with all of you, being able to have it in the holy and unholy, in the sacred and the not so sacred. These are only labels, of course, because it's all holy and it's all sacred. It's to be able to have that experience in any now moment that I am in. And what this teaching does for me is to keep me present, keep me present, keep me present, keep me responsible for being present, keep me responsible for understanding that I am in control of my own life and that it's up to me. Whatever it is going to be, it's up to me to take charge. I mean, thought rules the world, but I rule my thought. Or do I? I must rule my thought. I have to rule my thought if I want to rule my life. So now I've made the decision that unless I can find that deep, intimate relationship with whomever I'm with, wherever I am, whether it's a crabby babby in line in the supermarket, or a crabby babby in the center, or a crabby babby under my own roof, if visitors come or whatever that is, if I can't find it there, I'm not finding it, and it's not real, and it is an illusion. Because after all, it's all an illusion. It really is. And we can keep singing, what's it all about, Alfie? Because we should never stop inquiring. And I believe in nothing anymore. I don't believe anymore. Unless I know, I don't believe, because belief is based in hope. And hope is iffy. Knowing is based in proof. Knowing is based in truth. Knowing is based in faith. And that's what I want to do. I want to know. There's nothing for me to believe. There's only for me to know. And what I want to know is that life is good, life is very good, that the universe is indeed on my side, that it does support me, and that God is not just with me, but God is in me, and God is good. I love the old German word for God, and it's translated as almighty good. And I have to know that that almighty good is wherever I am, and I am wherever it is, and wherever you are. So I want to just say to you now, I am so very grateful to this community, to Asilomar, to Signs of Mind for helping me to connect the dots, because that's the biggest kick I get out of life, being able to connect all the dots and say, oh yeah, that's why that happened. Oh yes, I see what was going on there. Oh yeah, it all works out for the best, and I've learned this. Biggest thing that Signs of Mind has ever taught me. There is a pony in there somewhere, no matter how much it stinks. There's a pony in there somewhere. And good comes whenever I expect it to come. And good is in everything, but only when I know that good is in everything. So I will dance out my days in spirit, praising life all the way. I will dance out my days, allowing the bubbling energy within me to bubble up and really empower me. I will dance out my days, riding new waves, flowing against new shores, unafraid of bashing against rocks that have no control over me. I will dance out my days in praise of life and living wherever I find it, because life for me is simply rolling down the river. That's what it is, and that's what it is for you. So namaste.